There are very few concepts in culture today that have undergone such a radical transformation in the last 20 years as the notion of tolerance. And so much so that the definition of tolerance has been turned on its head. So that what used to be called tolerance is now actually intolerance and vice versa. So let me explain this a bit. It used to be that when people talk about tolerance today and accuse, say, followers of Christ of intolerance, what actually is the complaint? I encourage people, when they have been called intolerant, called a name essentially, to always ask, what do you mean by that? That is, what is it that I'm doing that you think qualifies me for being an intolerant person? And they're going to get some form of this answer back. You think you're right. You think you're right and other people are wrong. You're right about abortion, you're right about homosexuality, you're right about same-sex marriage, you're right about Jesus being the only way of salvation. Whatever it is, you're right. You think you're right and other people are wrong. See, you're intolerant to other people because you think you're right. Okay, well now we understand, get a general idea of what it is that they think. All views are equally valid. All right, and if you don't think that all views are equally valid, well, then you're not being neutral towards other people, and you're being intolerant to other people. But I always ask the person then, well, do you think you're right? You're faulting me because you think I'm right. Do you think you're right? Your views, are they right? Now, what's that person going to say? They can't say, no, I'm wrong in everything I believe. Of course they think they're right. That's why we believe what we believe, because we think we're right. And if we didn't believe we were right in what we believe, we wouldn't believe what we believe. We believe something else and think that we're right. Okay. And everybody's the same way in this regard. Okay. So the fact is, whatever that person who is calling me intolerant ends up believing is right would make them intolerant by the same definition. So if thinking that you're right and other people are wrong makes you an intolerant person, well, that other person is just as intolerant as you are, and pretty much everybody else in the culture as well. This can't be the right definition of tolerance. That's not true tolerance. That's postmodern tolerance, the idea that all views are equally valid. Let me give you a little characterization of a classical tolerance. In other words, the tolerance that really is the virtue. What tolerance used to be like before it kind of got all confused. And I get this characterization from Peter Kraft, who is a Christian thinker from Boston College, a C.S. Lewis specialist, actually. And Peter Kraft says there are two elements to classical tolerance. Here's the first element. Be egalitarian regarding persons. Be egalitarian regarding persons. And he says what he means is that in true tolerance, we have a conviction that we have an obligation to treat people with equal respect and dignity. So it doesn't matter what race you are, what religion you are, what your point of view is, because you're a human being, we ought to treat you with grace and dignity. Now, this is grounded in the Christian worldview, in the fact that human beings are made in the image of God. So we can make sense of this notion in our worldview. But anyway, it's the idea is that we have to treat people with respect. So that's the first element. Be egalitarian with regards to people. The second element is be elitist with regards to ideas. Now, what's an elitist? An elitist is like a snob, you know. A snob is somebody who thinks he's better than someone else. Well, there's a sense in which you should be snobbish about ideas. That is, that you should think some ideas are better than other ideas. Now, why would anybody think that some ideas are better than other ideas? Well, because they are, for goodness sake. You know, some are good and some are bad, some are stupid, some are dangerous. And we ought to be able to have the freedom of discourse and respect to be able to figure out which is which. So classical tolerance is respecting the individual, but going after the ideas. Because the ideas, there's some bad ideas. Okay. What is postmodern tolerance? It's just the opposite. It's the ideas are all equally valid. You can't say ideas are wrong. And if you don't think so, then we can go after you. We can call you names, we can mistreat you, we can marginalize you, we can make you look stupid, we can ridicule you in public. So it turns out now that the new postmodern sense of tolerance is just the opposite of what classical tolerance has been. It is not a virtue, it's actually a vice.